In today's episode of videos that nobody's actually going to watch because it's longer than 10 seconds and I'm not a celebrity, I would like to talk about guilt and shame as a DVIPV survivor. And most people are just going to be like, yep, next. Well, then I guess that video is not for you. And maybe this one isn't for you either, but I have to hope that this video finds whoever it needs to find. So, I, as a DVIPV survivor of like over 10 years, um, deal with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. And my current husband is a wonderful human being. And I very openly expressed to him this morning that I am dealing with a lot of personal shame and guilt and embarrassment, um, and anger at myself. And I've been open in talking to him about it. And then I felt compelled to make this video. So I guess one of the things that one of the things that I experience, and I only speak for myself, is that when other people pass judgment on me or have their opinions about me or why I stayed or how I left or whatever, I can't even express how much it actually doesn't hurt, how much it actually doesn't affect me. What affects me is when I have to explain myself, but only because I have to relive it again. But the reason why it doesn't affect me and it doesn't hurt is because there is absolutely no way any amount of judgment or any amount of guilt tripping other people do to me, they will never be able to make me feel a greater shame or guilt or sorrow or sadness or anger than I feel towards myself every single day. And I guess that's a superpower to surviving after the fact. And when I was explaining to my husband why I felt so much lately, it's because of really simple things that brought so much pain. And one of those is that I believed in evil so much that I didn't believe in evil at all. And what I mean by that is I believed in my abuser so much. I believed that all he needed was empathy and love and patience and for someone to be there for him. I believed in that so much that I was literally blind to seeing that he was and still is the embodiment of evil. And it's sickening. It's sickening that I believed in evil so much that I didn't believe in evil. And when it comes to the shame associated, I did everything I thought I needed to do to protect my children, only to find out after we had fled and they actually started talking that I was not the only one that he was hurting. And knowing that all that time, I truly, truly believed that it was just me. And it wasn't. It was them too. And the other thing is the isolation was so great that it wasn't just me as it related to them, but I truly believed that DVIPV was like this rare thing that I would be alone and that nobody would understand, and only to come out and realize just how prevalent it is. It's everywhere. And I was so isolated, I believed I was alone, only to find out that I was never alone at all. And I had, in a way, then chosen to isolate myself. and these just backwards thought patterns. When I look at my life, when I look at myself when I was younger, and I had the whole world in front of me, and I was driven, and I was intelligent, and I was all of these amazing things, and I was headstrong, and I was all, and that's what made me such a great target for him, right? Where's the competition? Where's the game? If you're doing it to someone who's easy. I was quite the competition, and I let him win for a really, really long time. I let myself down. I let my children down because I truly believed that there was no evil. And my belief in the evil led me to discovering just how much evil there is in the world. And it's heart wrenching. So when I go to make all of my phone calls begging creditors, debt collection agencies, medical offices, hospitals, and I tell my story for easily the 2000th time, begging them to help me, getting question after question after question of how I can work so much and where does all of my money go and why. And I have to explain to them that the legal system here is broken and requires me to pay over a quarter of my monthly pay directly to my abuser, and that I'm still paying on the medical bills from when he tried to beat me to death on my birthday in 2022. But he didn't have to pay any because luckily my bills were processed first. So therefore, I reached the out of pocket maximum before his bills were processed, and therefore he never had to pay anything. Or that I still have to pay on the credit cards that I had to use to pay my attorneys to protect my child and to restart my life from clothes and trash bags. And I get to go through this with them, and they still can't make sense of how I am so financially inept, and they can't see that me leaving that situation with a credit score of 798 and never missing a payment in my entire life, and then suddenly having something like the complete opposite was somehow my doing. At the age of 37 years old, I somehow a couple of years ago just decided to completely fall off the wagon and become a completely different person. But I have to explain this to them every single time. And when my children ask me for things and I tell them that I can't do it because I can't afford it because I'm still paying abuser support, I'm sorry, alimony through the rest of this year, and that I actually don't know how I'm going to make the mortgage, and I don't know how I'm going to make my bills, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for all of the groceries, and I don't know how I'm going to do everything because I have to pay my abuser through the 31 months that I was court ordered to pay that alimony. And I have to tell them, I'm sorry, I can't. We just have to make it through the year. We just have to make it through the year. But what they don't know is that even after that's over, all of that money that I'm giving to him is going to have to turn around to go to the $120,000 in debt I have because I used everything, including pulling out of my 401k just to make it through the last 3 years. But they don't know that. They've been through enough. And so when I have conversations with people or I see comments about DV, IPV survivors, abuse survivors, SA survivors that go through it, and all of these people, oh, well, you should have done this, or you should have done that, or I would have done this, or I would have done that. That's fine. You can judge me all you want, because at the end of the day, you cannot hurt me more than I hurt myself. You cannot judge me more than I judge myself. You cannot make me feel a level of pain and shame and sorrow and sadness and anger about my situation and how I got here and what I've been through than I experience with myself, perpetrated by myself against myself every moment of every single day, especially when I look at my children, especially when I look at myself in the mirror. But that's what it comes down to. That's really how simple it is. I was empathetic and loving and kind enough to convince myself that all I had to do was believe in evil a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, just one more time, and that would be enough. And you know what? It never was, and it never will be, because evil cannot be satiated, ever.